Winter is coming here in the Twin Cities. Below 50 degrees at game time this afternoon as it turns to evening at Target Field. Game number 3 of this 4-game series. Sox trying to stave off the sweep after losing 2 yesterday. Just 2 games remaining this season. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Glad to have you with us once again. And Yolmer Sanchez for this season has played more than he ever has and shown very well over at third base.
When the year started, we really didn't know what we were going to get from Yolmer. We didn't know he was going to play every day, but sometimes injuries, sometimes circumstances dictate that you're asked to do something you haven't done before. For Yolmer, that's been the case this year, and he's risen to the challenge. Yolmer's had a nice year. Driven in 54 runs and 10 triples, the 10th coming last night. As Yolmer hustles into third base, this ball gets by Cave, and it's off to the races. So certainly a fine year.
Yeah, I was going to say those 10 triples are tied for the most in the American League, and he's going to try and prop up Carlos Rodon in his last start of this year.
Carlos Rodon has thrown very well against Minnesota in the course of his brief career. He's 5-2 lifetime. His ERA very good. He goes to the mound after a tough outing last time out against the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber takes him deep. Schwarber unloads on this one, and Carlos knows it's gone when it left the bat. It was not the way he wanted to go out against the Cubs, but he's got a redeemer here. And with that slider, if it's working, he can get everybody out consistently, and hopefully it'll be working here this evening. His mound opponent, Kyle Gibson. This year, Gibson has not handled our Sox very well. He's 0-2, his ERA up close to 6, lifetime 6-4 against him. So he's thrown the ball very well over the course of his career, but this year the boys have figured him out somewhat. As you can see, the career against our Sox for Gibson's been very good. Career at Target Field for Carlos at 2-2, but his ERA at 3.18. So he's thrown it very well, and it should be nice tonight. It's autumn. It's cold. It's windy. And hopefully it's going to be an entertaining game.
It is long sleeve night here at the ballpark and will be for the remainder of this series. Just 2 games left in the 2018 season. Sox and Twins from Target Field. First pitch just around the corner.
Cross in Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Got to stay by the fire tonight in Target Field in Minneapolis. Sox and Twins, game number 3 of this series. And here's the White Sox lineup brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. The best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Moncada at the top, then Sanchez. Daniel Palka is third. Garcia and Narvaez and Davidson. Nicky plays first. Tim Anderson back at short, and Ryan Cordell in center.
Let's take a look at the defense. Put out there by Paul Molitor. It's Field, Cave, and Grossman in the outfield with Astudillo, Polanco, Forsythe, and Austin in the infield. Chris Jimenez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Kyle Gibson. On for his 32nd start. He's 9-13 ERA of 3.68. There you see 190 2/3 with 172 strikeouts. It's been a nice year for him. Right-handers haven't hit him very well. He's going to throw a lot of ground balls if he's right. And this is what he will throw. The four-seamer a third of the time with the curveball, then the sinker. So over 50% fastballs, a curveball to go with it, and a changeup negligible at 9%. The umpires: John Lipke has the plate, Jim Reynolds at first, Jansen Visconti at second, and John Tumpain at third. We're ready for baseball. Jason Benetti, take it away.
Steve, thank you. 2 games left, 18 innings remaining in the 2018 season, and a first pitch fastball outside to Yoan Moncada, who bats left-handed against the righty Gibson. Sox trying to avoid 100 losses. Would be just the 4th 100-loss season in franchise history. 1 win in the final 2 does that. Kyle Gibson, who's throwing fewer sinkers this year than previous, but still more than a quarter of those pitches. Now 1-2, and we take a look at Lowe's whole team together. Highest batting average against the sinker goes to Matt Davidson for current Sox. Then Narvaez second, Wellington Castillo third, and then Moncada. Well, Kyle Gibson's getting more strikeouts this year than he has in the past, and part of that is the heavier reliance on the breaking stuff. There's a fastball for strike 3 at 95, and 1 gone. Sox have now tied the Major League Baseball record for strikeouts in a season.
Good fastball. It catches most of the inside corner, and he gets rung up on strikes. So for Moncada, strikeout looking, 216 of them.
Yolmer Sanchez, the batter. Yolmer had that triple you mentioned in the open. Number 10 for him this year.
Yolmer, all things considered, has had just a terrific year. He's been ever present. Ricky Renteria wants to put him out there every day, and Yolmer is ready to go. 154th game today. Gibson, former #1 draft pick, so he was pretty highly thought of. He had some solid years. 13-game winner a few years back. That was in 2014, 13-12.
He watches this bunt sail foul, 1-2. There was some question as to whether or not he'd be in the rotation this year, but he has re-solidified himself as a viable starting candidate for Minnesota this season.
He's trying to win in double figures for the 4th time. He's done it the 3 previous times, 13, 11, and 12. 12 and 10 last year, but his ERA up over 5.
Called strike 3. High fastball with movement. Back-to-back strikeouts looking.
This one appears to have the whole plate once again. See good movement at the tail end of it, and that's a good solid strike called by John Lipke. So 2 up, 2 strikeouts called.
But weaved inside and then swung back over the plate.
I mean, good late movement on that, and that's the 2-seamer, so he's making it move nicely.
Ball 1 to Palka, who was 1 for 3 in game 2 yesterday, 1 for 6 in the doubleheader.
Gibson, a good sized right-hander at 6'6", about 220 pounds.
He's got some extra smoke on that fastball than what we saw before.
96, which was 2 fastballs ago, is about as hard as we've seen him throw the last few years. So he's showing no ill effects of this, his 32nd start.
Left-hand side, foul territory. And out of play, strike 2 on Polka. Visit the White Sox pop-up shop at Orland Square Mall October 15th through January 15th, located next to the Apple Store. Shop stadium exclusives and special promotions throughout the holidays and the off-season. For more information and promotion schedule, follow the White Sox store on Instagram. That's at White Sox Store.
Second last day of the season and some monumentally important games today.
One has already gone final with the Cardinals beating the Cubs. Milwaukee plays later against the Tigers.
Milwaukee wins that. It's tied with 1 game to go. Tied in the division with 1 game to go if Milwaukee can win the ball game tonight over the Tigers.
Every season, the last couple days of the year, we have a reminder that every game matters. And then you forget in the middle of the year. You've given it bat away here and there, and suddenly you want it back. This is how close it is in the Central over on the National League side.
Hard to believe that Milwaukee will have fought their way all the way back if they can just subdue the Tigers. Sometimes those games that look like you're going to be a huge favorite and should win easily, strange things wind up happening.
Ball 4, Polka takes a 2-out walk. Cardinals are 3 outs away from being eliminated, with the Dodgers leading the Giants 7-5 in the 9th. Dodger win would bump out St. Louis and still leave the Dodgers in play tomorrow for the NL West, at least a tie. So here's Avi, who didn't play in game 2 last night. Strike 1. You want a pull side hit?
Looks like he's your man. He will take it up the middle, but more than anything else, he's going to hit the ball to the left of the second base bag.
That one gets away. Polka advances to second and stops there as the ball ricochets off the stanchion and the dugout facing. 1-1 on Garcia.
It's the 8th wild pitch of the year for Gibson. Not much of an effort by Chris Jimenez as he lets this ball get by.
One and one. 2 balls and a strike for Garcia, who's never really been healthy this year with the knee trouble and the hamstring trouble residually, and the knee surgery that's about to happen in a couple days.
Yeah, I think it's been somewhat disappointing for Avi, who hit .330 last year, to see that batting average at .238 coming in, but been, as Jason chronicled, just a lot of physical, little nagging physical injuries and some serious physical injuries. I mean, when you're gone close to 2 months with a hamstring issue, it's really difficult to come back. And yet when he came back off the DL the first time, he was swinging it every bit as well as he swung it before he went on the DL. It was the second stint on the DL, which involved the knee as well as the hamstring, which gave him that lack of a solid base to hit off of, and that's where things got a little sketchy for him. But hopefully next year he comes back 100%.
3-1. That is foul ball. Foul ball, 3-2. There's a late call by the third base umpire, John Tumpain.
Looked like he was waiting for John Lipka because that ball didn't appear was going to go over the bag. So he was waiting to see if the call would come from the home plate ump.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Garcia. Polka at second on the wild pitch and walk combination. Payoff. Grounded foul to the Sox dugout, where they are availing themselves of the heated benches at Target Field. One of the nice accoutrements of this new ballpark in its 9th season. A hot bench, as they say in the courtroom.
Probably a good plan tonight.
Gibson, a long look in at Jimenez. Three and two. In the dirt, ball 4. Back-to-back walks after 2 strikeouts here in the first. The Cardinals are basically done. The Dodgers are pouring it on. It is 10-5 Los Angeles in the 9th, so can very likely lop one team off that National League playoff menu very soon, as Omar stands in with 2 on and 2 out. Former Rule 5 draft pick who's become a very productive catcher for the Sox. Left side through. That's a base hit. The 2-out walks come back to bite Gibson, and the Sox are on the board first on the Narvaez single.
Take a look at that swing, and that's something that Omar has done all year long. It's not overswing. Throw it exactly and hit it exactly where it's thrown. Gibson throws it on the outer third. Omar goes that way, takes it just inside the line, and it's run batted in number 30, and a 1-0 lead in this one.
Of the White Sox regulars this year, Omar Narvaez has the 2nd best on base plus slugging of anybody. Abreu was first entering play today, Narvaez second.
That's surprising with the second half of the season like he's had. Detroit has taken a 1-0 lead over Milwaukee.
They did that last night and got popped anyway.
Milwaukee's got some thunder.
Outside to Matt. 2 balls, no strikes. So Gibson, who looked like Bob Gibson for the first 2 batters, has now lost the strike zone.
He's struggled against our hitters this year. 0-2 with an ERA up close to 6 for the season.
Good breaking ball, 2-1.
A lot of pitches in this first inning for Gibson, who he doesn't find a way to keep these to a minimum, is not going to go deep into this game.
Two-1. Forsythe retires the side, but Omar's 2-out base hit brings home the first run, and the Sox are on the tote board first. Pieces goes with Maurer, then Polanco and Astudillo, Grossman, Austin, and Cave. Couple of left-handers in the lineup. Forsyth, Field, Jimenez, the bottom three.
The defense for our Sox, as put out there by Ricky Renteria. It's Daniel, Ryan, and Abisail left to right in the outfield with Yomer, Tim, Yohan, and Nicky in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon. Carlos trying to even it up at 7-7, his ERA of 3.61. There you see the 88 strikeouts and 119 2/3. We'll take a look at the repertoire. Four-seamer is 46% of the time with the slider at 26. Change in the sinker, pretty much interchangeable at 14 and 13 respectively.
So it's your choice where Joe Maurer sits on the active hits list. Do you include Ichiro and Victor Martinez?
On the active hits list?
Mm-hmm. Ichiro's mostly retired. Victor's announced he's going to be.
Well, Victor, I would include on it for the time being. Of course, you know, we only have one more game, but I mean, Ichiro pretty much has been retired for the better part of this season. So,
but they're just kind of apocryphal. But
yeah, I don't include Ichiro, and I do include Victor.
Okay, so Maurer is 8th on the active hits list.
If I included them both,
he'd be 9th.
If I excluded both of them,
he'd be 7th.
If I cut out the first 4,
he'd be 5th.
There you go.
Any further questions?
No.
Maurer fouls it up.
I'm okay, thanks.
Well, so 2,120 hits is good right now for somewhere between 7th and 9th active.
Question, and I know the Twins fans want to know this more than anybody else by a wide margin. Will he be adding to that next year? And I think a lot of people around baseball, especially here, want him to come back knowing that he's still got plenty of play left. I mean, outside of the concussion situation, now that he's playing first base and DHing, doesn't have a great deal of difficulty with that. So it seems like he can still hit. I think he's going to be able to hit another few years if he wants to play, certainly.
2-2 coming, and he takes ball 3. Maurer got a standing ovation last night when he came out of game 2. About halfway through that game. Up and in, ball 4. So 1 on, nobody out, and Carlos Rodon has relied so heavily on that slider in the past, but it's been better than ever this season. You see the batting average against 101 versus his slider in 2018.
I think what's probably happened a bit. He only had half a year this year, so he doesn't have the second half of the year to get a little something off that slider as he gets more fatigued. His arm has been pretty strong the whole way, and so this year they're not touching it.
That first start in Boston, it took him 4 innings or so maybe to find the reins of the slider, and maybe you could argue that it took past that first start to find it, but once he did, it was back. Looked a little different, but it was back. Now, Carlos in September has not been the same guy result-wise as we saw for most of his July and August starts. The walk bug has started to nip him again, and you take a look at the slider by month here in 2018. In July and August, it was virtually unhittable. Some negative counts have allowed it to get hit a little bit more here in September. Up the middle, base hit. Polanco singles Maurer to second.
Takes it right back up the middle, and so 3 first innings in this series, and 3 first innings the Twins have made things very difficult on our Sox. They scored a run in the opener of the series. They scored 3 in the second game last night, and they're in good shape with 2 on, nobody out here in the first. For an interesting character.
La Tortuga, Williams Astudillo, the rookie catcher turned third baseman today, who makes a lot of contact.
Pretty good pitch, did not get it. So if indeed the bottom part of the strike zone is not going to be available, Carlos is going to have to keep the ball up.
(1-0). Called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Astudillo, who didn't play in game 2. He gets off the bus, you don't think he's a baseball player. He puts on the uniform, you're pretty sure he is.
He grabs the bat and you know that he is.
One and two. Hey, Stadium Links is transforming Chicago's own guaranteed rate field into a one-of-a-kind golf experience for 3 days only, October 5th through the 7th. The home of White Sox baseball is one of a kind. A 9-hole golf course offering fans the opportunity to tee up from the outfield concourse and upper deck. To register for a tee time, go to stadiumlinks.com. 1-2. Astudillo fouls it away. Struck out 14 times in the minors all year in AAA.
It's really amazing because there's some excellent pitchers that get as high as AAA, and to only fan 14 times is remarkable.
He's only struck out 3 times in 85 at bats in the majors in this his rookie season. (26 years old. He turns 27 on October the 14th, just a couple weeks away. Two balls, 2 strikes. Astudillo's debut on June 30th was much trumpeted in the baseball numbers community with his low walk and strikeout rate, and people were clamoring to know if he could do the same thing in the majors, and it turns out he has. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 85 at bats. And he stays alive.
Looking to see if he might have cracked his bat. It appears he did not.
Sox got a run in the first on an Omar Narvaez RBI single after 2 2-out walks. 2-2 from Rodon. Astudillo pumps it to center field, and Ryan Cordell, who's underneath. We're out number 1. It's up to Robbie Grossman, who plays right field in this game. He's seen his playing time increase even more with the quad injury to Eddie Rosario, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, but on the bench.
Rosario is having a really nice year. It's a shame that he got hurt toward the end of this. But he's going to finish this off at 288. 24 and 77 on the power numbers. That's a good solid year for Eddie Rosario.
You said 288?
Yep.
That's only 120 points better than Chris Davis, who's been shut down for the year by the Baltimore Orioles with the lowest qualified batting average in Major League Baseball history.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
I mean, it's not great.
Nope.
For a guy who, I mean, he was never a tremendous average hitter, but he was at 286 5 years ago.
I was going to say, a few years back, with as many home runs as he'd hit to the opposite field, that batting average was a whole lot higher, and he was driving the ball out everywhere. This year, for whatever reason, he became a dead pull hitter with everything, and literally could not find a hole.
Season on base percentage 243, less than a quarter of the time he came up to the plate, he got on base. Thought Mario Mendoza had it bad. The 200 line named after him. Chris Davis line is 32 points worse.
Grossman's going to take it back up the middle and hit it pretty much to left center field from the right side, where he's a much better hitter.
Former Pirates draft pick who's bounced around quite a bit in his major league career.
253 left-handed, 328 as a right-hand hitter. When right-handed, he swings it well.
They have Cy Fair and Cy Falls High School in Texas. He went to Cy Fair High School. Woody Williams, the most famous alum from there, the 15-year major league pitcher. 3-2. Upstairs and in, it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded in the Minnesota first.
Don Cooper's just shaking his head over the lack of control early for Carlos. Both pitchers having control difficulties here in the first inning on this very chilly night in Minneapolis.
6 starts in September for Carlos Rodon. The walk totals are these, including tonight: 2-5-5, 3-0-2. Austin, a strike. So when it's cold, what does it feel like to pitch? What can't you feel?
Well, normally you should be able to get your arm loosened up with the amount of warm-up pitches you have. So getting loose is not usually a problem, but trying to get the feeling in your fingers is. And if it's a little chilly, and it's not bitterly cold here tonight, it is a whole lot chillier than we've experienced, and you're still trying to get the feeling in your fingers.
2 strikes on Austin.
I mean, the biggest difference is now they allow you to blow into your hand, and you couldn't do that years ago. It was difficult. Now they have little hand warmers they have.
Final series game time temperature. I assume they're moving it based on.
Looks like at about 45 or 6, something along those lines. Delightful net.
That's some dedication to the meteorology craft. Austin strikes out. Big punch out for Carlos. Base is loaded, 2 down.
He throws it by the righty, and now he can get out of the inning with a lefty-lefty matchup with Cave.
Well, Carlos in his career has been deaf to left-handers. There have been some exceptions, but not many. Left-handers have an OPS of 649 against Carlos Rodon all time. That's 108 points worse than right-handed batters. As you see, Mauer, Polanco, and Grossman scattered across the old dusty trail. Two 2-0 on Cave, who was 3 for 7 in the doubleheader yesterday. The brisk air at Target Field filling the lungs of the locals. And 3-0 on Cave. Green light, how frisky are you?
Nope.
No.
No green light.
2 days left.
Yeah, I know, but
Come on. I'm not going to convince you.
I give him the green light 3-1.
You give him the red light, you're fired. 3-1. 3-0. Called a strike. Tip top of the zone. 3-1. Two walks, a single, a strikeout, and a flyout in the inning, and this ball ripped to right. It should score at least 2, and will. Avi gets over to throw it in. It's a double for Cave, and the Twins respond in kind in the home first.
43 driven in for Cave. He got him to a count where he could pretty much guess it was going to be a fastball. It was a fastball down, and Cave drove it into right field. So that early lead the Sox took goes and disappears.
Pitching side effects. Walks may be hazardous to your health.
Well, that's never changed. You start walking people, you're going to give up your hits. That's for sure. So you give up one key hit after a few walks, you see the earned runs start to rise.
Forsythe takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So this is a 13 batter first inning combined.
It's number 34 on the way for Carlos.
To a guy who just a couple of years ago was one of the best second basemen in the American League, Logan Forsythe. Carlos really fighting himself here in the first. Off the screen, 2-2 with Johnny Field next and Jimenez to follow. First hit in the inning went to Jorge Polanco after the leadoff walk to Mauer. There's strike 3 on a high fastball. Rodon fans Forsythe, but the Twins nab the lead on the Cave double.
back. Watch the Bulls take the floor for their first preseason game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Coverage begins at 6 or stream the game live on the NBC Sports app.
Good to have that Bulls music back. It's been a while.
Bulls and Blackhawks will be back for quite some time.
Nicky Delmonico takes a first pitch strike from Gibson. Ball inside. Ricky Renteria mentioned before the game regarding the first base position something fairly interesting, that Daniel Palka is a guy that he has tabbed to do a little work over at first, possibly. So the corner outfield positions, which Daniel has been wanting to work on, but first base is one that might pop up on his radar as well.
If you're not going to be a one position star in this game, you better be versatile.
One down. Delmonico grounds out to Forsythe.
And Daniel, I'm sure, is going to figure that out, and I'm sure they're going to tell him that if you can expand your ability to play different positions, you can spend a great deal of time up here and get a lot more at bats. And for Daniel, that's the key. Get the bat in his hand, let him do what he does best.
One down. Tim Anderson with a 20 home run season. Takes a first pitch strike, a slider that just barely kept in the zone. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your home team throughout the season and the official mortgage provider of the Chicago White Sox. Get started today at rate.com. Slider away, 1-2. On the ground, Astudillo at third, off the slide. He got him.
And how about this guy? You got a guy who can play a number of different positions, surprisingly, and he makes a sliding play. This to his left. This turns out to be a good play. Not only a play, but you figure the arm is strong. He is a catcher. But coming up with it and firing it right away, that's pretty impressive.
Well, if Pablo Sandoval is the panda, he's the koala.
He got some good movement.
That was a really nice play. You know, you see guys on video and then you watch them in person and you see the agility there, and just about everything he's done so far in his major league time, he's forced them into thinking that maybe he's a viable option in the future. Cave in center, and a 1-2-3 second inning for Kyle Gibson. His Twins are up a run.
game.
A lot of long sleeves, a lot of hoods, a lot of blankets. Some that have been quilted by their owners.
Here we go. Big one.
There's ball one to Johnny Field, who is not terribly used to this sort of weather. He grew up in Las Vegas. Doesn't get like this in the shadow of the Flamingo.
It might, but it would be a January night.
Or a very large flamingo.
Could be one of those too.
He went to Bishop Gorman High School, which has become a powerhouse in just about everything out there in Vegas. Their facilities for sports rival some colleges. Through the wintry sky. Avi reaches out and can't make the catch. Field to second base.
Well, Cordell said he couldn't see it. Avi saw it and at the last instant missed it. And Yohan went out there, had a long run before finally giving way. So Jan's calling for it. But this is an easier play for anybody from the outfield. Avi comes across and then calls for it and does not make the play.
Certainly not a fault of Ryan Cordell for not having seen the ball. However, it is something that does tend to happen when you have an inexperienced center fielder.
And it's not quite dark yet.
That goes as a double. Strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris Jimenez has had a plane ticket or two in his career. Cleveland, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Texas, Cleveland.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
I wasn't even done.
No, I know.
He's
got a few left in there.
And who knows in the future as well. He's 35 years old. He'll turn 36 2 days after Christmas this year, Jimenez. Johnny Field, by the way, sounds like a baseball superhero. You're down 6. Johnny Field will save you.
Yeah. Maybe not quite as good as Phil Triple, but he's pretty good.
Phil Triple, yeah, he'll clear the bases for you, old Phil Triple. 2-2 for Jimenez. Fouled away. 2019 suite packages are available starting at just 5 games. Entertain clients, family, and friends with a unique ballpark experience. Call 312-674-1000 for more information. Field at second, 2-2 on Jimenez. Well, if you're a reliable reserve catcher, you can play in this league for a long time and make yourself quite the checking account.
That's one of the few places where there is always a scarcity. You just can't find enough catchers. I mean, if you're one of those organizations that produces catchers, you can pretty much get whatever you want because so very few organizations do. You get at least one good one, you hold on to him for a long time, and other than that, you're right, you can stay around a while if you can catch.
Carlos walks the 9-hitter, and that may be truly rough on his 2018 farewell as he flips the lineup over to Maurer. Let's take a look at tonight's T-Mobile Built for Baseball. It's brought to you by, as you might expect, T-Mobile. Oakland at New York is set. That's October the 3rd on Wednesday for the wild card game, and then the division series begins. What do you like there? What's fun for you?
Well, I like Boston to take out whoever is there, and that first series between Cleveland and Houston is going to be just an outstanding series. It's just two really good baseball teams going head to head. Maybe you give Houston a slight edge because they're home. You take a look at the back end of the bullpen. Cleveland might be a touch better, especially if Miller is healthy. So, I mean, that's flip a coin. A lot of people are going to think Houston's going to win it easily. I don't think it's going to be an easy series.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was kind of batting it in my head. Are we biased because we've seen Cleveland so much this year and they've played so well in front of us? Because I think we agree Cleveland's going to give them quite the series.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a good, solid team. You're talking about Lindor and Ramirez. You're hard pressed to find two better in a double play combination. Correa and Altuve are great. I just don't think they're better than Lindor and Ramirez.
Justin Verlander struck out 10 today against the Orioles. That's a twin bill of quite the chasm between those two teams.
Ooh, boy, is it.
3-0, and Carlos just does not have his control tonight.
No, he came out and it was spotty to start with. He walked Mauer to lead off the ball game, and not much has changed as he moves now for the second time through the lineup.
Three and 0. There's a strike. Carlos Rodon has seen his fastball cause him trouble recently. In his starts in September, the four-seam fastball has gotten hit quite a bit, and you contrast that with the slider. It's a sizable gap. But again, hitters have been in fastball counts for the balance of September.
You see the four-seam fastball and you see what's happened in September. The Cubs hit it hard. The Indians, the Royals, Angels, and Red Sox, they all hit it pretty well. The Red Sox hit it the worst of the group, but still, for Carlos, that's still not quite as good as he's used to.
Well hit into left center field for Mauer. Field scores, and Joe Mauer has an 8-game hit streak and a 3-1 lead.
Drives in run number 48. So Mauer takes it through the left side. That's going to bring Don Cooper out. That's already 5 hits in 2 games and an inning plus for Joe Mauer.
Part of the message has got to be whatever you got, let it rip, because you're not going to be able to do this much in the offseason.
No, this is going to be the last time you're out there, and you've got to throw strikes. Get ahead. If they hit you, they hit you. Get ahead with whatever it is you think you can get ahead with, and keep it in the zone.
That said about the offseason, this could be Carlos's most productive offseason in a couple years, which gets you excited for him for 2019, because he's either been rehabbing, under the knife, or something the last few seasons. So here's Polanco. And if you wonder how important he's been to Minnesota, you look at the record with him and without him. They are 37 and 35, 2 games over with Polanco in the lineup, and 14 under without him. 10 under, 37 and 49 without him. Had they been 14 under, they would have played 162 already, and this wouldn't be happening.
He's just a good, solid player, and they thought they were going to have to make a decision because he would not have been eligible for the playoffs. It became a moot point, however.
They followed his lead and have made themselves not eligible for the playoffs either.
Yes.
Jimenez at second, Mauer at first. 2 balls and a strike on Polanco. 2-2. That one fouled to the right of the heat lamps, which looked terribly inviting tonight. Down the first base line and some down the third base line. Wouldn't have dreamed of them about a month ago.
No, they didn't have a whole lot of use for them.
A lot of pitches. First 2 innings for Carlos tonight.
Pitch number 58 on the way, so in order for him to hang around, he's going to have to get some of these Twins swinging early in the count and retiring them, because he's going to be probably, well, knocking at the door maybe over 60 pitches by the time this is over.
Into center field. Jimenez on his way. Throw is cut off. Minnesota expands the lead. It's 4-1.
Polanco driving in his 42nd. He's 2 for 2. That was a slider that he just reached down and hit the daylights out of. That's one of the keys that Carlos just doesn't have a whole lot, because when they're hitting his slider that hard, you get the feeling that this is just not his night.
Polanco drives one in, and Astudillo coming up. Four straight have reached here in the second inning. Minnesota trying to push the Sox to a 3rd straight loss in this series. Left field, well hit to the wall and off the green padding. One more is home. The double for Astudillo, and it's 5-1.
That's RBI number 21 is Astudillo coming up and maybe making a place for himself next year. Although, and this is another slider that gets hit hard, there's a lot of scouts will tell you forget what you see in September. However, for the guys who have had wonderful Septembers, they're going to use that as momentum builder heading into spring training next year. And I think Astudillo has served notice that he's a guy that they're going to have to take a long look at next spring.
You said just forget what you saw in September, right?
There's a lot of scouts that will tell you that. My feeling is that, you know, look, it's still Major League Baseball. You're still facing Major League pitchers. I think personally that you have a good month of September, you're setting yourself up for a very nice offseason where you're in consideration, where you're in the plans for the team. You have to be.
I was going to say the Sox are 8-17 in September, so I'm all good with repression. I like your scout friends. But look, that's all well and good and probably true across the board. But if somebody is so good, right, that you look and you say, wow, how could he not make the team? Or has such a rough month that you say he definitely doesn't belong. That's where you probably are better served making a judgment at either end. But if it's close, you need more evidence.
My feeling is, especially when you're playing teams that are in the race, you're better off evaluating. You're better off evaluating in September than you are in spring training. Spring training to me is some place where, especially in Arizona, where you can get fooled by hitters for sure. because you got rock hard infields, you got high skies, you've got light air, and it comes together to provide a lot of offense.
So if you want a sac fly, that green line is for you. If you want a sac fly, why aren't you watching Dick and Bert? We'd like a strikeout. Christian Yelich has hit his 35th home run. The Brewers are within 1 in the 3rd.
And you think that's your National League MVP?
I think he'll win it. I think DeGrom will get more votes than some people think.
I think.
Who do you got?
I think Baez will get lots of votes. I think Yelich wins it.
It'll be fun to watch. There's ball 4. And this has not been the finest hour for Carlos Rodon. And here comes Ricky Renteria. So a lot of great signs from Carlos coming back from the injury this year. He's not going to like the taste in his mouth here in Minneapolis for his last start of the year. Genmar Gomez will come in. Will step aside. The Twins with a 5-1 lead here in the 2nd. Request your complimentary injury screening and have your pain or injury assessed by our experts for free. Athletico, the official physical therapy provider of the Chicago White Sox. Athletico, better for everybody. Pitching change, Steve.
The Lakeside Bank call to the pen. Lakeside Bank, it's about time. And Genmar Gomez comes on to try to stop the bleeding. It has not been a very pretty inning plus as Gomez comes into this. On for the 26th time. He's 0-2, his ERA at 5.32. He's going to be expected to pick up some innings here, but first things first. Ground ball would look awfully good right about now.
Sox fan looking for some help. It'll get better.
Trying to find some answers on the phone.
Evidently, they're not close enough friends to talk to one another. They have to find other people to text with. Can't believe I'm here with him. Can't believe I'm here with her. Tyler Austin, who struck out in the first, faces Gomez for ball 1. Two 2-0 for Austin. Cave would be next, then Forsythe. Polanco, Astudillo, Grossman, your base runners. Gomez got a strike on a sinker, 2-1. Tyler Austin, former New York Yankee. Struck out on 3 back in the first against the former Phillies closer Genmar Gomez. He whips in a strike. Well, he's got that spot pretty well worked out.
Throw 3 pitches right in that same area. So Austin doesn't like it. But both pitches were literally on top of one another. If you call one, you pretty much got to call the other.
Two and 2. Check swing. No go. Tyler Austin, part of that group of baby Yankees who came up and started leveling the ball a couple of years ago with 5 homers in 31 games in 2016. He lays off and drives in a run by waltzing to first.
.47 driven in for Austin.
And here comes not yet. Batter not announced. Here comes Jake Cave. And Ricky is gonna.
It's out. He's not out. He's out. He's not out. He
might
not out. He's back.
Back pedals. The drama of a staircase is unending. I was riveted.
Yeah. It's exciting for a moment.
Cave with a foul ball. A little hopscotch to boot. Nobody warming in the Sox pen, so
it's probably going to be just a little pep talk suggesting maybe you get the ball over the plate.
I have to say that didn't sound like a pep talk.
Well, that's, you know, at this point you're just trying to convince them that somewhere along the line there is a game tomorrow and you want to throw the ball in the zone here and have them hit it at somebody.
That was more pep talk like.
Yeah, that was pep
made
talk-ish.
it more positive the
there
second.
You go.
I'm ready to go now. Skip. That breaks in the zone. 1-2 on Cave. Astudillo at third, Grossman at second, Austin at first. And Carlos Rodon has an open tab to the tune of 2 runners. One, 2. Change up outside. 2-2. You would take the sacrifice fly line home with you to Arizona, put it down in your kitchen.
If I decide to paint it yellow, yes, I will. I'll have a green line with yellow paint.
2-2. Cave whacks this ball to right field. Avi makes the catch. Astudillo scores. Grossman to third. The Twins lead 7-1.
Jake Cave hit that ball awfully hard, giving him 3 runs driven in tonight. And that sacrifice fly was a rocket, and Avi able to make the play. Goes back, has it hit the heel of the glove, almost roll out of the glove, but he's able to retain it.
Avi working on that knee that he's going to have surgery on in just a couple of days. Ricky Renteria said after the doubleheader he kind of gave Avi a pass on the ball he hit off the flower bed and right. He knows Avi's dealing with that knee problem. So
that's actually what we felt on that one was that, you know, there's certain times when you do it. There's other times when you really don't, because the player's dealing with some issues that, you know, he's doing the best he can. He's out there. He's not asking out of the game. He's just out there with a bad knee.
And that scenario may serve Ricky well as his Sox tenure moves on, because that type of pass allows guys to throttle down when they need to, and we've talked about why that might be valuable over the course of a season. 1-1. It's downstairs. Ninth batter of this second inning for Minnesota. Second-year skipper of the White Sox, Ricky Renteria, who very deftly worked a cough into his signs there.
You never know when you might need that.
He had one cough, and it looked like he was bringing his fist up to his throat to signal that he was coughing, but it was actually part of the signs. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well done. It's like when you start to write a letter T and you mean something else, and you kind of turn it into a uppercase R. You ever done that?
I only have lowercase r's.
That's strike three right down the middle.
He just looks at it. It's a fastball, and it's right there. Keeps looking at it, but it's not going to change.
For the second straight night, the second inning has rolled into the third inning column for the Minnesota Twins. Field, who led off with a double, is here again. Foul ground, strike one.
On the nightcap last night, it was 3-4-3 in the first three innings, and pretty much that was about it. Here in this one, it's 2-5. First couple of innings. Not it yet, still a long way to go, but the Twins are bashing the baseball when they're not accepting free passes.
Minnesota has been very supportive of its starting pitchers the last two games. DeYoung in his first major league win last night, and Gibson one allowed through two, and a 6-run lead so far. Way out in front of the slider. Well, Hector Santiago last night did a magnificent job of eating up 4 2/3, but you wouldn't imagine he's available tonight to do the same.
No, that's pretty much, you would think, season over for him. That was a whole lot of pitches last night at just under 5 innings.
Right field and foul. Dylan Covey scheduled to start tomorrow for the Sox. You'd imagine everybody else pretty much is available, except for Rob Scahill, who threw 2 innings last night. Even Minaya and Frere, who threw 1 inning each in the opener, could go today.
You would think they'd both be available for today and tomorrow if need be.
Bloop, right center, down. Field drives in Grossman. 2 hits in the inning for Johnny Field. And you can close the line on Carlos Rodon tonight.
That's a slider way off the plate. And Field just dumps it into right center field. So not only are they hitting the ball well and getting their walks, but they're also hitting in some luck. Just about everything is finding a nice place to land.
Two on, 2 out. Jimenez, who walked and scored earlier this inning. He will need a new weapon. Souvenir or a Twins fan learning the weather in his natural habitat. Learning how to juggle 1 ball at a time.
That's a good way to do it. Not as disruptive if you miss.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just falls right back in your hand. 2 strikes on Jimenez. Minnesota, a playoff team last year, will not make it this season. Foul territory, first base side, and this does reach the stands.
Mickey gave it a long run, but that one was clearly foul.
What about a second chance here? Doesn't count off the carom.
Nope.
Oh, and 2. He did not go. No cost for the appeal.
No, you'd like to see him at least swing a little bit before you appeal, but Jim Reynolds says nope, not even a hint of a swing.
You always appeal. Any good attorney will tell you always appeal.
Might as well give it a shot as long as there's no downside.
He struck him out and the inning's over, but Minnesota puts up a big old 6 in the second inning. 8-1 after 2.
Biggs and Alex Brown with host Lawrence Holmes after the Bears try to sink the Bucks. The Football After Show presented by Buffalo Wild Wings on NBC Sports Chicago Plus.
Lawrence Holmes, one of the best in the business.
He's terrific and a really, really nice man.
There's a clip of Lawrence from that show last year. I think it was from that show. He was in a double box, and there was a report going on from the stadium, and they were playing Jump On It. The
yes,
you know the song.
Yeah, and I also know that Lawrence is at his best in a double box.
He's tremendous at a double box.
Yeah.
He does the entire dance to go along with Jump On It while the report's going on. It's fantastic. You can see it on Lawrence's Twitter. Moncada slices this ball left center field and down. Yoan Moncada on his way to second base.
Two-base hit for Yoan. As he goes the opposite way, he gets a sinker, goes down and gets it.
That is double number 30 for his season. So 30 doubles, 15 or more homers, 60 or more runs driven in at age 23 or younger. Moncada is one of 5 White Sox players ever to do that. We chatted for a little while before the game today, Moncada and I, and one thing he said that I think is really interesting, and we've seen this before, where he'll make an error like the ball last night where he pulls up the glove and his immediate reaction is to smile. And some people look at that and they say, well, he doesn't care, it doesn't matter to him, and that's very much the opposite of how he feels. That's just the way he reacts, but inside he's beating himself up.
Well, there's no doubt there's not a guy on the field that doesn't have a tremendous amount of pride in what he does. And when you think they don't care, that's not even close to accurate, because if they didn't care, they wouldn't be here in the first place.
It's too hard to get to the major league. He left his home country to come here to play, and with that as the backdrop, I think it helps you realize exactly where his mind is.
And believe me, the last thing that any of these guys, and I mean anyone, to a man, the last thing they want to do is make mistakes, and the last thing they want to do is look bad. The last thing they want to do is fail at something they've always succeeded at. And so it's real easy for you to think you know what's going through their mind, but if you believe that there's any acceptance at all to some of the bad parts of this game, that's really not the case. Because when you start accepting it, that's when you start to look for another job. These guys don't accept failure, or they wouldn't be here.
Astudillo picks it up, throws high. Sanchez is safe.
Well, it's interesting. If Austin wants him to take a look at it, if he thought he had him before he hit the bag, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he was signaling toward the dugout. But it's very possible he thought he might have had him. The throw pulled him off the bag. He went for the swipe tag. This ball off the glove, throws up. Now the swipe tag, he thinks he might have gotten him. In fact, he wants him to take a look at it.
Take a look at it, please.
Good foot's already on the bag, but the Twins are going to challenge, figuring why not.
They're going to take a look at it.
So a third inning challenge for Minnesota, up 8-1.
We'll see it from a different angle. If he caught him on the back shoulder while that foot was in the air, quite obviously he's going to be out. But the question is, do they have a good enough angle to overturn the call on the field? And it appears like he might have got him off that left shoulder before the foot got to the bag. We'll have to wait and see if there is definitive proof, overwhelming proof, unbelievable proof. Proof that you can't overturn.
It is an out. So there was enough proof, and again, in New York, they can slow it down frame by frame and go super mo on it. Here's one more look to see what they're seeing.
Yeah, I thought he had the left shoulder while the foot was in the air, and that's probably where he got him.
right as the foot comes down, or just before the foot comes down, more accurately.
So it is out number 1, saving the error for Astudillo. Polka fouls it away. In the National League playoff race, Milwaukee's taken the lead on Detroit 5-3 at the end of 4.
It's pretty amazing because they were down in this one 3-0. It looked like perhaps the Tigers would rise up. They still might, but boy, that Milwaukee club can hit the baseball.
They've been down 3-0 early each of the last 2 nights and don't care.
Nope, they can hit it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Polka, who walked and scored in the first. So if Milwaukee won that game, it would be a tie atop the National League Central with the Cubs, and if the Rockies lose tonight, there would be a tie in the National League West with 1 game to go.
Pretty exciting.
Nationals have taken the lead on the Rockies 2-0 in the first.
That's Strasburg going to the mound for the Nationals.
John Gray for Colorado tonight. This is when you need the MLB TV app. Get everybody's tablets, put them all in one room, and you watch all the games. 2-1. Nice changeup, 2-2.
That probably was the single best pitch he's thrown tonight. He's thrown a few good sliders, but that changeup was a great changeup. Not sure if he can duplicate it very much, but if he can, the left-handers are in trouble.
Two. He goes back with a fastball inside to strike him out, and 2 down.
He's been 95-96 tonight, pretty much exclusively, so there's nothing wrong with the four-seamer. Got some good movement on it. This ball at the last instant moved inside just a bit, and he threw it right by Daniel.
Average fastball this year for Gibson has been right around 93 miles an hour. Last year it was at 92.
Yeah, that's why this, I mean, yeah. we both looked at a couple of those fastballs early and went, he's got something tonight.
It didn't look like Kyle Gibson.
No, it didn't.
From the past. So there's a strike at 94 to the corner. Moncada at second after a leadoff double. Second to last game of the year. Wide of third and foul. Back by popular demand, the Chicago White Sox are offering a limited edition Cancer Ribbon White Sox cap for $20. $10 from every cap sold will support White Sox charities and Rush University Medical Center and cancer research. Caps are available online right now. Visit whitesox.com/rushcap to get yours today. Oh, and 2 for Ravi. Just trying to keep the hands warm.
I think Greg Gibson is trying to freeze him out. I think he feels if he takes enough time, Avi will either fall asleep or the hands will be blocks of ice.
1-2. That's how you use your home field advantage. If you're Gibson and the Twins, you keep them out there for as long as possible. It's like the Cardinals in football wearing their white jerseys at home to start the year when it's about 1,000 degrees when they used to play outside at Sun Devil Stadium. Road teams have to wear black and they overheat.
Well, that's, you know, you have to get yourself used to the conditions. Come down there 3-4 weeks early, play a few games, a few practice games, and get ready.
Doesn't. That's not how the NFL works. Moncada at second, 2-2 for Garcia. Kyle Gibson thinking it over for ball 3. Full count. Gibson to Garcia, who walked on a 3-2 pitch in the first. Payoff. On the ground, Astudillo at third. Across the way for out number 3. Leadoff double does no harm to Gibson. 8-1 Minnesota. County, Illinois on Gridley Cable. Why are you eating ice cream if it's that cold? Why, oh why?
It's the thrill of ice cream at the ballpark.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got 81 chances to do it. He agrees. He's nodding with us.
Now he's got a chance and a half.
I mean, look, I love ice cream as much as anybody that goes to a game, but like, get something warm. It's better for you. Joe Mauer, a base hit.
Well, he's got a couple of hits in each of these games, so 6 of them, and we've just played 2+ innings. So he reaches out, gets a slider, takes it into right field, and he's had a perfect night. 2 for 2 with a walk.
Mauer on, Polanco up, and a 2 for 2 for Jorge Polanco. 2 runs scored and an RBI for him. Strike 1. Anderson backs up on it. Moncada will only have the 1 out, and he did have control. So 6-4 on the fielder's choice. 1 away.
Clearly he is out, and on the transfer he loses it, so Jansen Visconti, the correct call.
Astudillo takes a strike. Oh, and 2 on the slider from Gomez. Minnesota with a 6-run second inning tonight and an 8-1 lead. In the air, left center field. Cordell. Time for our Rocket Mortgage breakdown. And the best ERAs around our Rocket Mortgage breakdown. Blake Snell is #1 in the American League. Looks like maybe a Cy Young in his future.
I would think so. 21 wins. Bauer second. Verlander, whose season is over.
Ball 1 to Grossman. Yeah, Snell has, even though he missed a couple of weeks, has been the best pitcher in the AL for a good chunk of the year.
I would think so. It doesn't matter which particular category you choose. He's around the top, just about every one of them. So I think it leads to a Cy, and we'll have to see what the voters say.
Is that a second souvenir? Gotta keep it warm. Treating it like an egg.
Looks like that might have been his second souvenir.
I think so.
Yeah. You got, there's 3 baseballs in the cup holders, it looks like. There's 1. There is 2 and a 3rd.
They could play the hat game, but with 3 baseballs and 1 hat.
Or go into business. They have 3 of them.
What a bonanza.
Right to eBay.
Or just like a really fond memory of the game of baseball, but we see who the businessman in the booth is. Right to eBay. Strike 3 for Gomez. 4th inning coming up. X1 customers say, show me the Chicago White Sox. Hit your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. Kevin Smith pinch hitting for Omar Narvaez here in the fourth. We have a very special Sox math for you in game 3 of this series. It is our 2018 championship.
So this is a tough one, you figure, huh?
It's really tough. And the first 3 correct answers of our finalists, there are 11 finalists. First 3 correct answers get to play at Sox Fest in 2019. A live version of Sox Math.
Very nice.
To play for the grand prize. Kevin goes down swinging and 1 away. Here's your Sox Math question for you 11 best. Hashtag Sox Math. First 3 correct answers. Justin Morneau's Sox jersey number plus years Mike Sorotka pitched for the Sox divided by letters in the last name of the Sox third base coach multiplied by the final digit in the last year Wilbur Wood pitched for the Sox minus the number of home runs John Kruk had for the Sox. That's your question. First 3 correct answers go to Sox Fest in 2019. If there are not 3 correct answers, top 2 go to Sox Fest. If nobody gets it right,
everybody goes to Sox Fest.
Everybody in the world goes to Sox Fest. That's not a contract, not an offer. 0-1 to Davidson. Center field, Jake Cave. Have you said, show me the Chicago White Sox into your remote, by the way?
I say that usually 2-3 times a night.
Even when we're on the road and you don't have Xfinity X1?
Absolutely.
What happens?
I just want to stay in practice.
Other than the neighbors in the hotel?
I get to come here and watch them. Not bad.
And if you don't say,
I still get to come here and watch.
Trying to figure out how this works on the road. 2 out, Delmonico. Strike. Kyle Gibson looks rejuvenated.
Well, he seemingly has decided to stay atop the mound and throw the baseball this inning because he's quickly gotten 2 outs and seems to be going right at Delmonico.
One and 2 on Nicky, who's a pretty happy camper today with the Georgia Bulldogs winning again to stay undefeated.
Omar Narvaez left the game with lower back spasms. It was after 1 at bat and an RBI single to finish his night.
Check swing. Nicky held up nicely. Two balls, 2 strikes. Kyle Gibson, who allowed 1 run on 1 hit in the first inning, gets strike 3 here. Nicky peels away and is thrown out eventually. So 6 in a row retired by Gibson since the double by Moncada. Bottom 4, 8-1 Minnesota. All right, 72 hours, unlimited budget. Where's Ricky Renteria's dream vacation?
Oh my gosh, unlimited budget?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I don't think that Tesla's got the rocket to the moon yet, but that would probably be it.
So on Earth, as a follow-up, where do you go?
You know what? I'm going to try and get to Puerto Rico this winter, and visit there, see what's going on, and hopefully, just say hello to some people that I've wanted to meet for a while, and see how things are going.
Thanks for a great season of One Thing with Ricky.
Thank you, Jason. Thank all of you guys. Thank you.
That's to you and our entire crew from Ricky Renteria. So, dream vacation, the moon first, then Puerto Rico. Cordell, we're out number 1. Here's your Sox math. 3 winners who will be going to Sox Fest 2019, unless they give away their position in the championship. Morneau is 44, plus 6 years of Sorotka, 50 divided by 5 in Capra times 8 years. Last year, Wilbur Wood, 1978, minus 2 home runs for John Kruk. 78 is your answer. White Sox Jack, Jay Lazowski, 14, Jay Rhesus. To battle it out for Sox Math supremacy in a live edition at Sox Fest 2019. Steve Stone will play some role.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
Live Sox Math at Sox Fest 2019. We will be in contact with our 3 winners, and congratulations to all of our finalists for being big time Sox Math winners this year. Two 2-0 on Cave. Now 2 balls and a strike. So Genmar Gomez charged with eating up innings in this game. And you'd imagine this is his final outing of 2018.
I would certainly think so.
If it's not, he's either made somebody really angry or tomorrow didn't go as well as planned. Called strike 2.
And Jake, Aaron Bummer is eventually going to loosen up. It's going to take a while.
How much longer in the cold?
Well, depending on how much they throw. I mean, depending on how much they threw before the game, but a lot of guys will get pretty close to loose before the game even starts.
2 out. Cordell makes the catch. Aaron Bummer just hanging out for now.
Well, he might decide to come in for Kevin Smith.
Sox had Omar Narvaez leave with lower back spasms. Two out. Forsythe, who's the only Twins player not to reach base. He's the only Twins player not to be involved in a run scoring play. Sanchez across the diamond on a hop, and Delmonico couldn't scoop it.
The wait and see for the scoring on this is Yomer's got it in the dirt and nothing going on. It's a base hit.
You know, there's some times where a musical artist gets just so hot in the market, or an actor gets so hot in the market, they basically are allowed to do whatever they want because everything's a hit.
This is similar. Yeah, I would say it's similar. Some generosity certainly given out.
Everything they touch is a hit.
Well, if it comes off a twin bat, it appears, at least at the beginning, there's been a base hit.
I was just saying other places in the entertainment field, you know, music.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Rondon playing shortstop now.
He's got a chance to get a hit.
He does.
Because he's going to lead off in the 5th inning. .
Ball and 2 strikes on Johnny Field, who had 2 at-bats in the second inning, and they were both productive. A double and a run scored the first time, an RBI single the second time. Ball and 2 strikes from Gomez. Just missed. Kevin tried to help him out. 2-2. 47 degrees game time temperature tonight at Target Field, with a day game tomorrow. You'd expect it to be a little bit warmer. However, there is a threat of rain for tomorrow's game, which would be a fairly fitting way to end this weather-torn 2018. Two. Another foul. Forsythe at first. 2-2. He struck him out. 77 on the slider, and the inning's over. So Gomez unscored upon to his own ERA, 8-1 after 4.
Doubles leaders at Winston-Salem. Gavin Sheets with the lead. He had 28 of them. Blake Rutherford in the 2 spot. Then Gonzalez, Mercedes, Forbes, Zari, and Adolfo. So it was a good year in Winston-Salem. Those boys hit the baseball under Omar Vizquel.
Hall of Famer managing Winston-Salem to crowns in both halves of the regular season. They ended up getting bounced in the postseason, but a great year, and an especially fun year for Gavin Sheets because he gets to play, at least for one season, in his college town. He went to Wake Forest, so he was basically at his college home, which can sometimes create some problems. Some of his teammates from Wake Forest were like, hey, we're going to go out, grab a meal, and he's like, I'm playing professional baseball, I can't go with you. It's not the same, but still entertaining nonetheless for Gavin. He's a very nice kid.
And very strong.
You want a pull side hit? We might have one for you.
Pull side with a lot of power.
Jose Rondon, a home run last night. To third, Astudillo, the peg.
Willian has looked pretty good at third base. Moves well. Got a strong enough arm. And just another place that Paul Molitor can play him. I think the way he swings the bat, he's going to find some place to play. Most likely next year.
You'd imagine so.
You would think so.
Ryan Cordell, hit number 3 of his major league career.
Takes that fastball through the right side. And with the shift, the defense was playing him up the middle. Nobody home.
You know, it's amazing with Gibson's strong numbers this year, an ERA under 4. Opponents had hit over 300 against his fastball coming in, combined the 4-seamer and the sinker.
As many breaking balls as he threw, that's how he gets his big outs. And it was a good one tonight.
Moncada checks his swing, ball 1. Tigers and Brewers are tied at 5 in the 6th. Key game in the National League, and Xavier Cedeno, our old buddy, is checked in to pitch for Milwaukee. Cedeno, who first came up to the Sox just before mid-season while the Sox were here in Minneapolis.
He pitched very well for our ball club. Not surprising that a contender went after him, and he found himself moving into the bullpen for a team that was knocking at the door.
Sox can flip a bullpen arm with the best of them.
The last couple of years, that's certainly been the scenario.
Looping line drive for out number 2. And Sanchez will come up. Two out for Sanchez. Called strike. I didn't do terribly well in science, but I do know that strike zones expand in extreme cold.
Well, I believe you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, as it were, because it appears to be getting just a touch larger as we move along.
Inning by inning, yeah.
Could very well be that's the case. I mean, that's certainly not all that scientific, but perhaps it holds true.
Line drive for out number 3. 8-1 Minnesota. moments. We'll go through ours tomorrow in our final telecast of 2018.
It's a final post-game show for Chuck, our Bill Melton of this season, of course.
It's true. We'll be over on WGN tomorrow.
Chuck said he was tearing up a bit, being the sentimental guy that he is.
I think you actually misheard him. He said he was tearing up a bit. He had written some comedy that he didn't think was going to go well.
That was it. I knew it was one thing or the other.
Yeah. Aaron Bummer into the game.
On for the 37th time. The ERA a little above 4.5.
Janmar Gomez, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Grand total of just 3 hits and no runs. So credit to Gomez for pitching well in what we expect to be his final outing of 2018. Chuck asked, and we were talking about this during the final home series. We were talking about biggest disappointment of 2018 in a season that has seen 98 losses. And you had mentioned Michael Kopech getting injured. And I'm right there with you for this reason especially, that when he was on the mound, not only was there extra electricity in the stadium, wherever we were, there was also a renewed belief that the Sox had a weapon that other teams don't. Not only on the mound and with the physical characteristics, but also in his mentality. He's the type of guy that goes into the clubhouse and makes everyone a little bit hungrier, it seemed like. And so the question is, who will fill that vacuum in 2019? Will it be someone from the minors? Will it be a newcomer? But when that was in town, when that was in the clubhouse, we saw an invigorated team.
Well, there's no doubt. Just his presence and his ability gives a different dimension to the pitching staff. So, you know, we're going to wait. We're going to see him in 2020. But we're going to see some other young pitchers next year to be determined. You know, we'll see what happens. Someone's going to jump up there and do something that's surprising. Somebody's going to get their opportunity in spring training. You never know what happens with. We know 3 of the guys we think are going to start. We're pretty sure about the 3 guys. But there's 2 spots that, you know, you put your hands up, you don't exactly know. Somebody's going to have to take a couple of steps forward.
Yeah. And that's not only on the field. That's the evolution of who becomes a leader. And we talked about Moncada earlier. That's one thing Ricky Renteria has talked to Moncada about, is how to become a leader on this team, how to be a little bit more of a follow me type guy. And with production, that may come. There have been signs offensively positively, but that's the part that can evolve for some of the young talent for the White Sox, is who, without physically doing it, shakes the teammate next to him and says, we got to win tonight.
You can evaluate talent, and quite obviously some teams do it better than others, but you really never know. When you have your talent evaluated, you think you got, let's say you got 6 guys that have a good chance. You just don't know which of that group of 6 are going to take the step forward. You know who's got the most talent. You know who has the most tools. You just don't know the development process and who's going to develop more quickly than the other guy. And that's why it's a fascinating game. That's why each and every year is exciting. You never really know how it's going to pan out. You do know that it's going to be a couple of them. You just don't know which couple it's going to be.
2-2 on Mauer from Bummer. Joe Mauer 2 for 2, a walk, 2 runs scored. Left side, Sanchez gets 2. What a turn by the Sox.
Very nice play on the front end of this. Yomer takes the 360 spin and gets it there with 1 step to spare at first base. And a most unusual turn because it was 5-6-3.
Good turn by Jose Rondon.
Yeah, very nice considering he was for the most part out of position.
Strike 1 to Polanco, who had 2 hits from the right-hand side in the first 2 innings tonight. Two and 1 to Polanco. The base is clear here in the 5th.
Outfield and infield pretty much straight away for the switch hitter.
To right. Avi has out number 3, and the Twins are done in the 5th. Sox need some runs, down 8-1 after 5.
That break down the X's and O's of the Bears-Bucks game. Don't miss touchdowns and takeaways, presented by Ankin Law. Monday at 6:30 on NBC Sports Chicago.
Kyle Gibson 5 innings deep in his final start of 2018. He faces Daniel Palka in the 6th. Daniel has scored the lone Sox run. Two and 0 on Palka. Daniel, who grew up in Greer, South Carolina, but when he was a kid, his families would take vacations down to Florida. They'd drive down to Florida every once in a while, and every time they would drive to Florida, they'd drive past Georgia Tech. So he saw the campus out the window in Midtown Atlanta, and he said, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech, and he did, rather than Clemson or South Carolina.
Very good baseball program.
Danny Hall, the longtime coach down there.
Wasn't he a Kent State product?
Danny Hall?
Yeah.
Was he?
I don't know.
We might have to play one final edition of Is This True before the season ends.
Daniel reached out, able to just barely get his bat on one.
Danny Hall was a coach at Kent State.
There you go.
Strike three. Gibson punches out Polka to lead off the sixth. Let's quiz you on your own career and maybe about your alma mater, which you seem to know everything about.
Danny Hall.
Annie Hall. First Minnesota Twin to get a hit against you was who?
Ooh, boy. Tough one. Well, Larry Heisel was from Ohio. Bobby Darwin, I have no recollection of. I was a teammate of George Mitterwald's. So I'll say Bobby Darwin because I have no recollection of facing him.
None at all?
No.
What was George Mitterwald like as a teammate?
Nice. He had 3 home runs, I believe, like the end of April in a game, and wound up with 10 for the year, something like that. I do remember. Yeah. I think he was number 10, as a matter of fact.
One. Avi gets jammed and parachutes it to left for Johnny Field, who had that very famous documentary-worthy first hit against you.
George
Mitterwald.
George Mitterwald. How about that, huh?
Sorry.
Boy, you get to be a teammate of a guy and he just won't let you up. I thought it was Danny Hall.
Alvy Singer was the correct answer. Ball one to Kevin Smith. George Mitterwald's initials were George Eugene Mitterwald, making him a gem of a teammate.
He was. Nice fellow. Meantime, Gibson is throwing a good soft breaking ball using sinkers. Given up just 3 hits so far, and he had control issues in the first inning. After striking out 2, he walked a pair, gave up his only run, and that's been it for control issues. Pitch number 93 on the way. Had some problems in the first, and then the control got pretty good after that, especially the 4th and the 5th.
He's only allowed 1 hit in his last 11, now 12 batters faced. 3-1 to Kevin with 2 out, nobody on. Counts full. In the American League, the playoff seedings have been decided. Boston the top seed. The Yankees will host the wild card against Oakland. Houston the 2 seed. Cleveland the 3 seed. Ball 4. Smith draws a 2-out walk. So that's the American League playoff picture. But in the National League, there's a chance, and a decent chance now, with the Rockies trailing the Nationals 5-1 in the 3rd. There's a chance we'll wake up tomorrow and have the NL West and the NL Central both tied with 1 day remaining.
Well, it's pretty pretty tough to get that game 163, but to see 2 of them, and there's a chance that might be able to see that. But a lot of things have to happen the right way to be able to do that. Of course, for the teams that are in control of their divisions, if they are in control, it would happen the wrong way for them. But 2 game 163s would be an exciting way to finish off this season before the playoffs.
Would be a wild finish. That would eventually be Monday. Then the losers of those 2 games would play Tuesday in the National League wild card game, prospectively in a totally different city.
Could be.
Two and 2 on Davidson.
That last pitch was a very good slider thrown in a perfect spot. If he keeps it there, you're not going to do much with it.
Kevin at first. Fastball called strike 3 on the fringe. 8-1 Minnesota. Use your glove.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not to.
He's probably not doing the laundry anyway. Maybe. Astudillo. First pitch swinging. Moncada for round number 1. MLB at Bat is your #1 White Sox app. Customize your experience to get White Sox home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Good time to have MLB at Bat with playoff games, essentially playoff games, starting today, even yesterday. Definitely tomorrow.
No, this is a great time to have it. Make sure that none of the late season action is missed. Plus, if you do miss it, then you can just call it up again.
Hey, you click on it, you scrub through, and
Trevor Hildenberger, who's been used as a closer at times for them, throwing in the pen, sidearm right-hander.
Aaron Bummer Gave up a leadoff walk in the 5th and got a double play and a fly out to end the inning. Trying to navigate the Sox through the 6th. Unscored upon. Minnesota with its last run in the game in the 2nd inning. Loss number 99 hanging in the balance right now for the Sox. Trying to avoid that 100 barrier, which has not been hit terribly much in franchise history. Only 3 100 loss years for the White Sox ever.
And knocking at the door here, so barring a huge comeback here, it's going to have to be tomorrow.
That'll be Dylan Covey on the mound trying to make it so.
If Dylan can just channel the way he threw against the Indians a couple of different times, he's going to be in good shape, because against a very tough lineup, Dylan Covey was as good as it gets.
That's strike 3. Bummer paused Grossman's brain for out number 2.
It's a good slider. He tried to pull the trigger, just couldn't, but John Lipka had no problems with it. He rings him up, and no complaints from Grossman.
Two out. Tyler Austin on the ground. Moncada off the backhand. Quick throw, and he got it there. Neat play for Yohan Moncada, and Bummer has a 1-2-3 6th.
Three defensive plays by Astudillo at third base. The man we saw as a catcher playing third base tonight and doing a nice job of it. He stayed with this one and got the play at first base. The appeal, he was out. And another pretty good effort. There's a man you're probably going to see a whole lot of next year, and we got a new pitcher in the ball game, Trevor Hildenberger. On for the 72nd time. ERA of 5 1/4, a 4-6 record.
Ball 1 from the Cal Berkeley alum, Trevor Hildenberger. 22nd round pick out of Cal. In the air, right field. Deep right field, and caught. Well, it's fun while it lasted. One down.
It looked like it had a chance. but unfortunately it drifted. I think it probably goes in the seats with the limestone front, but it moved to the corner, and there was just enough room at the 328 mark to haul it in for Grossman.
Yeah, that's an inviting plant box.
It is
out there in right field.
It is. If you can get one of those fly balls, that would have had enough to get there.
Ball 1 to Rondon, who's 0 for 1 since coming in for Tim Anderson. Hildenberger for out number 2, which brings us to our random White Sox leaderboard for tonight, which features who knows what. Most total bases by a rookie. Jose Abreu number 1.
Oh, Smead was so good. It's really a shame that he's stuck there, and he probably is not going to improve off that 303. I don't think.
Well, a couple reasons actually working against him.
He's gone.
Yeah, and he's not going to be a rookie again.
That's true.
One stronger than the other.
Poor Smead.
Smead Jolly, who played in his final game in 1933.
You can tell where Hildenberger would be a whole lot tougher on the right-handers than the left-handers.
Oh,
from
yeah.
the side, the left-handers see it all the way, and right-handers, that ball starts behind him.
You just hope for a misplaced fastball.
Yeah, I mean, what you're hoping for is he gets it middle in with that fastball drifting back into him. Because if he keeps it middle away and you give any ground at all, you're going to open up too soon and not be able to get any coverage away.
That was the type of pitch you might do something with.
Well, that time he stayed over the top. Wasn't quite as intimidating to the right-hand hitter, but he tried to sneak a fastball by him and couldn't get it there.
Two balls, two strikes. Cordell tips it foul.
Sox pen up and going. It's Diego Vieira.
Two. Off his body.
Those changeups from the side are really tough to stay in against because guy drops down sidearm. You're expecting something a little bit harder, and you see something in the mid-70s. It's hard to stay back, but Cordell was able to foul off the last pair.
Two and two. He lays off. 3-2.
3 changeups in a row.
What do you do after that?
Well, if you think you can get him on a changeup, throw another one. And there's going to be another one.
There it is. Yep. Strike 3. 1-2-3 inning for Hildenberger. Stretch time. The BP home run leaders. Our BP home run of the game. We don't have one for you, so we show you this. The Yankees now have the most home runs in Major League history. Any team.
Not surprising. Number one, it's an era in our history where the ball is flying out of the ballpark. But the Yankees are absolutely loaded top to bottom with guys who can do that, including a couple of rookies.
Yeah, Gleyber Torres, Miguel Andujar. Very dangerous. Torres and Stanton went deep today, and Giancarlo Stanton had an interesting trip around the bases on his home run.
What did he do?
He hit the home run.
Yes.
Got to about halfway through second to third base and was hit by the ball from a fan who threw the ball at him from above the green monster.
Yeah, probably not a good habit to get into. I assume they escorted that man from the ball yard. As you see, Thiago Vieira come in for the 16th time with an ERA up over 8.
Well, it was in Boston, and it was a Yankee who hit the home run, so there is a small chance that they just erected a statue of the guy and called it a night. Security likely nonpartisan, though, at Fenway Park.
Absolutely.
1-1 to Cave, who doubled in a pair in the first and then had the sac fly in the second. Thiago Vieira against Cave with a foul ball, 1-2.
Twins pen has some action. Gabriel Moya loosening up.
Center field, Cordell. Hey, Sox fans, with each run driven home this season, Uber has made a generous donation to Chicago White Sox charities. Uber, the official ride-share provider of the Chicago White Sox and proud supporter of Chicago White Sox charities. Use Uber code GOSOX18 for $15 off your first Uber ride. You've become an Uber user.
Yes.
In recent days.
I have.
You should become an Uber driver.
Maybe in the winter.
How cool would that be? Somebody calls for a car and it says Steve.
And I'm in Arizona and I have to go to Chicago.
Sounds cost ineffective. But maybe check it out. 2 strikes on Logan Forsythe. Well, we found out this year that you've done poetry in the past, among other facts about you. So maybe Uber driver will join up.
I'll see how the off season's going and I'll keep it in abeyance.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
0-2 to Forsythe. Hope we don't have an impromptu final game of Is It Raining tomorrow.
Well, I think there's a better than 50% chance we will.
The glum look you just got across your face.
Yeah, the good
really
news is it's probably not going to be a blizzard, but there's going to be probably a little rain.
Remember, all of the games in Major League Baseball start at roughly the same time tomorrow. The 2 o'clock Central Hour, 3 o'clock Eastern Hour.
2 o'clock, 2:05, 2:10, depending on when you usually start it. But all the games will start in the neighborhood of one another.
So nobody has an advantage, and we will be checking in with those other games as we go along tomorrow with National League postseason implications throughout the schedule. For the American League, it's all set. Yankees and A's in the Bronx in the wild card game. Then the winner of that goes on to face the Red Sox. Cleveland and Houston, the other divisional series. 2-2. Another foul from the Brazilian-born Thiago Vieira to Logan Forsythe.
Got to get loose somehow. Occasionally, riding a bike is the way to do it, especially if another one of your pensmen is loosening up. You're trying not to freeze to death.
Thought maybe the last game of the season, last couple games, he was in charge of keeping the lights on.
Could very well be.
He stops motoring on that bike. Lights go out in the bullpen. Well, speaking of the National League race, Christian Yelich has gone deep again, and the Brewers have taken the lead on Detroit. Six-5 in the seventh.
Well, I assume if there was any doubt at all about the MVP, Yelich might have put that one to bed with this performance tonight. Not that the whole year wasn't great, because it was, but he got an opportunity to come from the Miami Marlins and get into the thick of a pennant race, and he has relished it. What a player he is.
Worth 7 wins according to Fangraphs WAR. Yelich, that is by far the best position player number in the National League. Somewhere Marlins fans weep. Now the thing of it is, just hear me out for a moment.
Okay.
It's inside ball 4. Yelich is worth 7.1 wins according to wins above replacement, and it's not everything certainly, but it's a nice starting position to see who's in the same area of possible MVP candidacy. Jacob deGrom is worth 8.8 wins above replacement.
Okay.
He's by far the National League leader. Then Max Scherzer is second. Yelich is third. So you can make an argument based on that as one piece of evidence that deGrom should deserve merit as an MVP candidate. And it's all about value.
Well, yeah, if you look at it that way, but I do believe that, number one, and this is a blanket statement, but I believe this to be true, pitchers should not get the MVP.
Why?
Because I do believe that everyday players are not eligible for the Cy Young Award. The guys who play out there every day need an award. That would be the MVP. And I understand there's some years where specific pitchers have had great years, and obviously they won the MVP. I just believe that it's an everyday player's domain to do that. That's just
what about this? Say we change the Cy Young Award, right? Where if a pitcher leads the MVP voting, you got a special Cy Young Award, like a Cy Young Plus or something like that, that denoted that you were going to be the MVP, and a batter got the MVP award that year. So you're giving out essentially a special edition of the Cy Young to a pitcher who was better than everybody, even including position players. Plus you give out an MVP every year regardless to a position player.
That certainly would help cure some of it, but no.
Thanks. I appreciate your reasoning when it's two letters, especially.
No, it's an excellent idea. I'm sure well crafted and thought out, but no.
Still like your reasoning.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it's terrific. A great idea.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Petite pinch running. And just a petite argument going on up here. One and two for Jimenez. So a fly out to center for Cave, the walk from Forsythe, and the field fly out to right. Your inning so far against Vieira. One, two. Line foul, third base side.
There's a breaking ball that stayed up. Unfortunately, on the other side of the line. Didn't seem to have enough runs at this point.
You think?
I think so.
Well, look, we agree.
Well, you agree that that is a special coat. Goes with the cap nicely.
Galactical coat.
Yeah, nice coat.
One and two. And that hit him. A wayward pitch from Vieira. So here's Joe Mauer. There's 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, an RBI and a walk. Single to left, single to right, and a double play. He usually takes the first pitch, and he does there for strike 1. Joe Mauer takes on the White Sox today by AARP. Most doubles by opponent. Sox are in second place. Division, of course, is going to be the top 4. And then Seattle in the pole position for everybody else. Oh, 1.
I got it.
Launched foul. We were here when Joe Mauer picked up his 2,000th hit earlier this season.
Seems like he's had 1,000 of them this series.
Doesn't it?
He just keeps hitting the baseball.
Petit at second, Jimenez at first. And Tiago calls for time. No runs in this game since the bottom of the second. Oh, and 2. Mauer clubs it to right field. Garcia. 2 left on, no hits for Minnesota in the inning. Stay with us for the 8th after this.
Sox MasterCard debit card only available to your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
New pitcher for Minnesota after a clean inning from Hildenberger. 8-1 game. Twins with the lead.
Moya comes into the ball game. He's on for the 35th time. Gabriel Moya, 3-1 ERA. Up there close to 5. There you look at the rest of the numbers.
How often do you see a guy throw a changeup more than any of his fastballs specifically? He's one of them.
Yeah, you don't see that very often at all.
Problem is, the slugging percentage against his changeup this year is nearly .500.
Yeah, that would be problematic if that's what you threw mostly.
Yeah, 39% changeup, and it flies sometimes. Moncada takes a strike. There is the changeup. Four-seam fastball goes about 90 for Moya. Then a slider at 81. Maybe that's why he didn't throw the fastball very much.
It very well be 2 feet wide of the plate. Probably not as effective as he would like.
Up the middle, they had him played well. Forsythe throws Moncada out. This day in history, September 29th, Babe Ruth's final home run as a Yankee. Don Newcombe, first African-American pitcher to win 20. And John Pachorik, Wimpy's brother, 3 for 3 in his only major league appearance. You talk about a walk-off. You talk about a mic drop. There it is. 3 for 3.
How about that, huh?
Very fitting that the Sox would end this season in Minneapolis, by the way, with this being the 10th anniversary of the game 163 the Sox took from the Twins, the blackout game.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. Certainly for John Danks and Jim Thome especially.
So after the ground ball to Petit, Sanchez down 0-2. What an atmosphere that night. 1-0 in the final. Eyes.
Unbelievable.
Unforgettable, really. That's the type of game where I know the season didn't end the way anybody would have wanted associated with the Sox, but that's the type of game where John Danks got himself a lot of future tires changed for him if he's somewhere stranded in a Sox neighborhood, let's say. John Danks says to a Sox fan, "Do me a small favor." The answer is yes, anything, whatever you need.
He was absolutely brilliant. It was undoubtedly his best performance in undoubtedly his biggest game. Doesn't get much bigger than game 163. And when you throw that well in a pressure packed game, you know, unfortunately he got hurt. If he hadn't gotten hurt, I think he'd have been a lot better than he was, and he was pretty good.
Fly ball to right for out number 2. And Daniel Palka scheduled to hit. He will bat. And here's the Sox bullpen. It is Ian Hamilton getting loose for the first time in a couple days. Major league rookie, as so many are down in that Sox bullpen. Couple of prospective game 163s for Monday. As Palka brushes this one past the mound, in big trouble. Petit's not going to get there. Daniel will not help his exit velocity average, but he does have a base hit.
Exit velocity was 8. And it was effective. No chance for anybody on this one. Get a left-hand pitcher on the mound, falls off to the third base side, and the excuse me swing finds goal.
One on, two out. Abisail Garcia. Behind a fastball at 90, well placed. Kick up the speed a little bit when it's around eye level.
Especially with that good change, and believe me, the scouting report precedes Moya, so they know it's a good change. The fastball looks a whole lot better, especially when you keep it up in their eyes. Like that.
Yep, 89. Where do you put the changeup if you go there now?
I'd go with another high fastball.
Right,
I mean,
right
yeah,
back?
Yeah, he might decide to go with a change. I'd just go with one more a little bit higher than the other two, as long as you got him in swing mode.
Polka at first, 2 down. Tried it on the outside edge or thereabouts, and Avi fouled it away.
Big one.
Moya doing the Rod Beck.
Yep. See if it works for him.
Struck him out. A wheelbarrow full of fastballs. 8-1. Chuck, thank you so much. Right around, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the off season, every weekday or so, every 5 out of 7 days, I'm just going to say thanks, Chuck, in the middle of conversation. Make it feel right.
This is the swan song for him.
That's it.
For this year, of course.
What a great year we had with Chuck on the sideline for home games, in the studio for road games, and a true pro who can take a Gatorade bath with the best of them and get mimicked by Southpaw with the best of them.
It was an eventful season for our Chuck.
Chuck lived 4 seasons. Found some money in the outfield.
Can't beat that. Angels in the outfield.
It was only for 1 series in September.
Oh.
Center field, base hit. Let's take a look at the Verizon projected starters, and this is a rough estimate based on who got starts this year. Carson Fulmer has been used as a reliever, so that looks like the path for him. Dylan Covey also got some starts, but the key here is Rodon, Lopez, and Giolito in our Verizon projected starters. They're pretty well cemented. Those next 2 are guys who've gotten starts this year, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to start the season today without any moves being made, you'd say that was probable, but you never really know how the moves will fall.
Will fall, as this one does. Polanco to second. Astudillo with his second hit. Two on, nobody out for Grossman. Minnesota's 6-run second inning has been the decisive inning so far tonight. Although the 2 in the first so far would hold up. So Rodon 1 inning plus 8 earned runs, then Gomez for 3 scoreless, Bummer 2 scoreless. Two and 1. See the way the fastball Vieira throws. Pulls the catcher sometimes like a water skier behind a boat that's got a captain that's a little tipsy.
He does throw awfully hard. Question is keeping it in the zone.
Question is he okay?
That one got a piece of Kevin. So hopefully he's okay. Late in the year, late in the game, but there's still 1 or 2 of those in your future.
What a cheerful sentiment at the end of the year.
That's a tough spot behind the plate at any time, any league. Catchers do take a beating.
Two and 2 to Grossman. 3 and 2. Sox and Twins tomorrow, the finale of 2018 at 2:10 start time from here at Target Field over on WGN with Dylan Covey on the mound for the Sox. Into the glove, strike 3. One down for Austin, who would be a nice double play victim. Mentioned possible rain in the forecast tomorrow. We were chatting with Dick Bremer, the TV play-by-play announcer for Minnesota before the game, and he relayed to us a wonderful story, a tale of weather woe here in Minneapolis. But really the ray of sunshine when things look bleak. When the Metrodome first was no longer the home of the Twins and Target Field had just been constructed, they played an exhibition series here at Target Field with no roof, as Vieira goes to second and gets nothing. The pass to first gets the Sox an out. So
wise to get it to the man who's covering the bag, because the guy who's not covering the bag can only throw to first base and get you what appears to be just one out with no play at second. So we will watch it again. Vieira does get it, but throws to the wrong guy. They do get it to first, so it goes one and 6 and 3, which normally would be a double play, but not here.
Well, first of all, Jose could have stepped on the bag, but he was so shocked that he had the ball in the first place. He just said, I'm going to get it out somewhere.
Yeah, just get it to first.
That was the baseball Statue of Liberty play.
Yeah, well.
So anyway, about the weather here, they play this exhibition series. They'd never experienced baseball for a long, long time, decades worth, without a roof. And it starts to rain, and everyone in the ballpark, instead of fleeing, cheered.
Well,
that's Minnesota nice.
They love this ballpark, as you would expect, but it was a radical departure from what they were used to.
Last play looked like Rondon and Moncada were running the high ball screen.
I'll get the ball and I'll throw it, and hopefully somebody is near enough to the bag to step on it. That didn't work out. That's all. Could have worked out, just didn't.
2 balls and a strike on Cave. Polanco at third, Astudillo at second. Sheared foul left side, 2-2. Sox in the 9th will have Smith, Davidson, and Delmonico coming up. Two and 2. Moncada with a final out of the 8th inning. 2 stranded for Minnesota. And to the 9th, 8-1 Twins.
moment. And it's Kyle Gibson and the night he had, and it was terrific. He was throwing a whole lot of strikes, had some control problems early, and then got over that. And although the Sox had beaten him twice this year with an ERA up close to 6 innings tonight, just 1 run on 3 hits, so he was brilliant. And there are 3 outs to go, and Matt Belisle comes on to try to get him. He's on for the 32nd time with an ERA that's robust, to say the least.
The veteran Belisle replaces Moya, who went 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, and struck 1 out. Kevin Smith first in this 9th inning. Sox trying to make a stellar comeback, down 7. And that is a good start. So after the Sox ran the pick and pop on the middle infield, Joe McEwing talking to the middle infielders.
He's asking Jose, well, when you caught it, did you think about it? Because he said, you know what? What he told him was, I got it so quickly, I wanted to get the throw off, but there was no stepping around second base or on it or in the neighborhood of it. So Joe wants to make sure that they understand the play, they understand what happened, and it won't happen again.
The idea is take the out at second, being the lead runner.
Yeah. If you don't get any others, that would be a good one to get.
Matt Davidson takes a strike. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Still looking for his first hit in this year's series. Strike 2. Matt started with a bang this season. 3 home runs on opening day. And you'd imagine by the end of this year, he thought he would have had a few more, though he did show his ability to throw the ball as well, which is something that certainly will be rolling around in his mind and in a conversation, at least with the White Sox in the offseason.
I think he had a good time doing it. Now the question is, can you make anything of it? And that remains to be seen, but at least he has shown, number one, he looks like a pitcher, and that's a good thing.
Popped up on a play. Talked about all the games with playoff implications in the National League tonight. One game that does not have playoff implications is certainly very interesting, though. The Mets and Marlins are scoreless in the 10th. More Mets and Marlins, they say.
When those 2 teams hook up, you can throw out the record books.
Might actually
throw them out.
Yeah. Do that. 1-2. On the ground and through, a base hit. Smith to second base, 2 on, nobody out for the Sox here in the 9th. The star-crossed 2018 for Belisle continues. Davidson's first hit in this series. And the batter, Nicky Delmonico. Now Belisle wants to talk to his catcher, Jimenez.
Well, normally, if you're looking for a moment of levity, you call the catcher out because you have an 8-point ERA, and you say, do you know any way to get these guys out? And then he tells you, and if, you know, might want to implement that. It's not been the kind of year that Matt would have liked, and he's been around seemingly forever.
He's had a very nice career.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, he's modeled a whole lot of uniforms and made a lot of stops.
Rockies are on the comeback trail in Colorado, trying to stay a game up on the Dodgers. They're down 6-2. Nolan Arenado home run in the 6th. Belisle to second. Pass to first is high. And so the Twins get only the runner at second, Davidson.
Well, Nicky hit this one awfully hard, but Belisle's right there to make the play, and then not a great throw, and that's not a great throw. So they do get one out, just barely. And up off the bag, and no double play.
Some middle infield ghosts in the machine in the last inning of this game.
Hasn't been great.
Here's Rondon, who takes ball one. Minnesota would have win number 77 compared to 84 losses. Cleveland will be the only team in the AL Central to finish with a winning record. Tampa Bay Rays have put in their petition to play in the AL Central next year.
Next year you're going to find 4 rebuilding teams and the Indians. And the Indians will be minus a few of their top of the line free agents, but it should be an interesting division next year.
Belisle knocks it down and scans to throw it away. Sox get a run. Delmonico to third, and Rondon is down over at first.
It's E1 on the throw, but more important than that, Hermes coming out to take a look at Jose, who is down, and he's not getting up anytime soon. It's kind of interesting. Belisle has it, takes a look everywhere, and then throws it away.
Looked like he came down awkwardly on that ankle on the last step.
Yep.
Side of the bag, that right foot. Maybe even the step before that. One with the right. See if he stays in here. You wouldn't imagine there's much reason to chance it if it's close to a coin flip. Though he is smiling. He's going to stay. So the Sox get a run on the error by Belisle. Ryan Cordell will bat. 8-2, 9th inning. Cordell 1 for 3 tonight, his 3rd major league hit. In the air, right field. Grossman makes the catch. Delmonico tags, and Cordell has a sacrifice fly. It's 8-3.
It's RBI number 3 for Cordell.
And it's up to Yoan Moncada, who's 1 for 4 with a double. They move Astudillo to the right side of second base. Polanco alone at the shortstop position on the shift. And ball one. He's done that at least 2 handfuls worth of times this year, hasn't he?
No doubt about that. Well, if you have quick hands, you're going to get around very quickly, and you're going to foul a lot of balls off that front foot. Sometimes it's off the knee, sometimes off the back foot, but more times than not, it's going to be off the front foot. And more times than not, it's going to be the inside, the instep off that front foot or the ankle, and that's really painful.
2 balls and a strike. Rondon at first. Moncada left side, and that is a hit. Rondon to third. Moncada's second double, 31 for 2018 in the doubles column for Yoan Moncada.
He's going to keep that batting average above 230, which is a good thing. He just reaches out, takes it down the line. It's not a strike, but he hits it in a perfect spot. 2 doubles for Yoan.
You're out of here, Joe.
He's at second, Rondon at third, and Yolmer Sanchez, the 7th batter of the 9th inning here for the Sox. Yolmer's been all over the map tonight. A strikeout looking, a ground out to third, a line out to short, and a fly out to right. Oh, and 2. Minnesota won the opener 2-1. Doubleheader game 2, 12-4. Tonight, the Twins hopped on Carlos Rodon early and have taken an 8-3 lead. To third. Astudillo ends the game. Minnesota wins game 3, and the Sox take loss number 99.
Well, unfortunately, this was a night where Carlos Rodon just didn't have it. You could see it early. He didn't have his command, and nothing really went well for him. He lasted 1+ innings. So tomorrow, the swan song, and it's a day game, so get your rest, and we will see you then.
Sounds great. See you then. 2:10 start time over on WGN. Farewell for our director, Jim Angio, our producer, John Walgren, our associate producer, Mike Norman, our technical manager, Mark Harper, and our executive producer, Greg Bowman. For our entire crew here, he's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. So long from Minneapolis. Coming up next, Subaru White Sox.